Hi everyone, welcome back.
Welcome back.
And welcome to our anniversary for our podcast. We made it one whole year.
1 year.
Go us. We did it.
What a wonderful year.
That is 52 whole episodes.
Yo, in a row. You know,
Yeah.
like we had those moments where we're like, damn, how the hell are we going to do this?
We were late on some.
Yeah.
Some that was not our fault most of the time. We went on a 2-week honeymoon and wedding.
And still showed up.
We still
showed up. Never called off of work 100%.
At least not this work.
Oh, at least not this work. I mean, we got permission from my other works, but this one doesn't give me a day off, okay? If anyone is out there, please report.
Everyone involved in this podcast is 100% voluntary, and no one was harmed in the making of this podcast.
Help!
Ay. Well, so how was your week?
Very interesting. Very cold.
It's getting chilly willy up here, down here.
You know what? Let's get down to the nitty gritty. How was your week?
Dude, you don't even want to give me some time.
No, we have to address it.
Something's wrong with me again.
Yeah, tell the people what happened. You don't have to go down to the nitty gritty of things, but you can just tell them your state right now.
I strained a muscle in my leg, which usually that's not really a big deal, right?
Right, you get a cramp, you can stretch it out, sure.
Or it's I can't bend my neck a certain way or something, but
this one's bad.
I can't walk. So Marlene had to get me crutches, and I hobbled to work today and pretty much sat there the whole time.
I am grabbing her crutches everywhere she goes, and
just so helpful.
I'm just right behind her every move. She moves a centimeter while we're sleeping, and I wake up because I'm like, does she need anything? What's going on?
You don't have to try so hard. They already know you're a very dedicated wife.
I know,
but yeah, so that's fun. I'm hoping it gets better soon. We might have to go to the doctor
again
if it doesn't get better on its own. I am tired of the doctor. We've been here 6 months.
Yes, I know.
What the hell?
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's our podcast anniversary, and nothing's going to bring me down.
Not even your wonky leg. I keep saying foot.
She's convinced I hurt my foot for some reason.
I thought when you were telling me, I thought that you had hurt your foot, and then I actually saw you, and I realized it's your leg.
It's my leg. It's the her back of my calf. It's
her high calf or something.
And it's weird. If I'm in the crutch position and my leg is a little bit bent, I feel zero pain. But the minute I bend it backwards or extend it forwards, it hurts. And if I put any pressure on it, at all, I'm yelping in pain.
Which, I can't even imagine how frustrating that is.
It is, because, you do kind of forget sometimes. The first time I went to the bathroom, I forgot. I, stood up, and I, went back down.
Oh, yeah, because you get, that sharp pain. I've had a knee injury like that, too, where it's, you're just fine, and then you move a little bit, and you're
it's that one little, pressure point, and you don't know when you're gonna hit it, but you hit it and you know.
Yes.
But
I'm sorry you're going through that.
It's okay.
But I am here. I'm queer.
Same.
And I'm here to help you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Well, since you've been such a helpful wife and it's our anniversary, you know this. I did you the favor. I did not require a fun fact from Marlene today.
Yes.
And in honor, in celebrating our podcast turning 1, I am covering one of Marlene's suggestions this week.
Yes! Finally. Oh my gosh. I swear to God, I have a full list.
I think making her wait makes it better, you know?
Yeah, it's also just it's just nice. I'm pretty sure this is how the listeners feel when they send in their stories. They're oh, they
picked mine.
Yeah, because I get a sense of just happiness, you know? I'm good. Just okay, I know the story. I'm gonna like it.
You'll have things to input.
Yeah, 100%.
I know you will.
I always do. I halted I stalled. Maybe possibly is the correct word. 16 minutes of before we started the podcast today because I was talking about
Yeah.
everything to Alyssa.
I made one comment. What did I say?
I don't even remember.
I don't either. I made a comment and it like sparked 4 different conversations, and I'm like, I still have to edit this tonight before bed,
It's
bro.
because once you get me talking, if you
I
know
should
me,
know better.
if you know me, you know this. Once you get me talking on a certain topic, I'll go through that with that. I'll go through with that, and then I'll start other
It'll
conversations.
spark something else and go
my
through that.
gosh. You know what? If you meet the right people, they'll actually enjoy my conversations.
I enjoy it at the right time. This is not the right time.
I have a few friends that like actually genuinely enjoy my conversations.
Shut up. We can talk about it tomorrow when we have nothing to do all night, okay?
I think it's a wife duty, though, where you're like, okay, honey, yeah, oh, yeah, I totally agree.
No, but sometimes I do care.
Yeah, you do, actually. We do have good conversations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to hear your story now?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's get into it.
All right, so this week we are going to be covering the story of Elisa Lam.
Oh, yes.
Yay.
The Cecil Elisa.
Well, don't
Elisa.
stop giving things away. I know it's your
Sorry.
forte, but
Yeah,
not that it really gives it.
yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah, if you're in the LA area, if you're back home, where Phineas is at.
Every couple of weeks, Marlene just is we're on the couch and she's like, "You want to go to Finney's tonight?"
Yo, okay,
Which is
listen.
at a restaurant exclusively in California.
Okay, not just a regular ass restaurant,
it's not.
an affordable restaurant.
Affordable,
with delicious
dependable,
foods.
always fantastic.
Always good. Doesn't give me the shits. Doesn't give me the runs.
They're nice. Their customer service on point. For your everyday visit there, you're probably going to have at least like 2 managers walk by, make sure everything's good at your
How's
table.
your food? How's your
your
drink? Do you need anything? Is there anything I can get? Like, yes, you can grab my heart from the floor because I love you guys so fucking much. I'm like, we're just sitting on the couch and I just think like, man, I could go for some Finnies. Babe, you want to get some Finnies tonight?
I'm like,
She's
yeah,
like,
that sounds good. Let's go.
100%. I'm like, okay, great. Let's just
So,
fucking...
Finnies, if you're listening, because I know you are, Tennessee, baby, Nashville would eat your shit up.
Oh
I
my
know
gosh,
it.
yes. 100%.
They would go crazy for your stuff.
East Nashville, if they can
right by
come
the airport.
East Nashville, like they need to make not even Broadway. Yo, fuck Broadway, dude. You do not want to be downtown Broadway. Fuck that area. Fuck that place.
Yeah, we need a good,
Alley,
like,
go fuck yourself.
everyday place
You need
here.
to get out of the city, move out to a little bit of the outskirts, you know?
We need stuff too.
Yeah, 100%.
So getting back to our story.
Anyway, yeah, Finnies, I love you.
We love Finnies, and we miss
If
you.
you're in SoCal, please go try out Finnies and have 2 of their gummy bear shots for me. Thank you.
And their
very much.
garlic parmesan boneless wings.
Yeah, and their tater tots. And
Carnitas nachos.
and their carnitas nachos with the Fresno peppers. Please, can you get 10 of them and send them to Nashville? And while you're at it, send 2 double doubles, one with just meat and sauce and the buns, no veggies, and then the other one with everything, please. Thank you.
Okay,
and
bye.
A chocolate shake, a Neapolitan shake, please. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
So, Elisa Lam was born on April 30th, 1991, in Vancouver, Canada. And
Canada. Oh, Canada.
Dave, this story is 16 pages long.
Sorry, okay, go.
I'm going to start my sentence over.
Okay, sorry.
So, Elisa Lam was born on April 30th, 1991, in Vancouver, Canada.
Canada.
And she disappeared on January 31st, 2013, in Los Angeles, California.
LA.
Speaking of California.
Benny's.
So in 2010, Elisa started a blog on Blogspot named Etherfields. It mostly consisted of models and fashionable clothing and just daily accounts of her life.
Did you never have a Blogspot account though?
No, I went right to Tumblr.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't even like a...
You weren't a writer.
No,
or
it wasn't a blog. I was like reposting pictures I liked and stuff like that.
I was like constantly having Blogspot accounts and
bet
like
you
just
did.
writing my poetry and like being so depressed.
You are a writer.
And yeah, it was... I would have followed me.
I bet. Now, it is important to note that Elisa did struggle with mental illness.
Same.
Being diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression.
Boo.
So, she was a student at the University of British Columbia, and in January 2012, she posted on her blog that she had had a relapse at the start of the current school term, which had forced her to drop several classes.
Relapse as in, like she just kind of snapped, I guess?
Like, yeah, I guess sure, her, like, mental
she
illness
had, like, a manic episode.
Yeah.
I
got worse.
I get it.
She said this left her feeling, quote, so utterly directionless and lost.
And these are quotes from her blog.
I believe, yeah. Yes, this was like a specific post, and she titled this post, "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life," which was a quote from novelist Chuck Palahniuk. Elisa then went on to say in the post that she worried that her transcript would look suspicious with so many withdrawals, and that it would result in her being unable to continue her studies and attend graduate school. So around this time, she also announced that she would be leaving her blog for another one that she started on Tumblr, named Nouvelle Nouveau. This one was like essentially the same content as her last one, but I think this one had more like entries from her instead of like, you know, the model fashion stuff. So about a year later, in January of 2013, Elisa decided she needed a getaway from college, not wanting to waste her life, like the quote in her blog. So she decided to make a solo trip to the United States. So even though she was 21, Elisa's parents were very nervous about this trip and didn't want her to like go at first, like at all. I mean, this was like reasonable considering what Elisa had been struggling with the last few years.
In a different country.
By yourself.
I feel like parents have some sort of intuition,
and she's
too.
still like a kid. I was a kid at 21, honestly. Like,
oh, man, yeah.
You know?
No, you're right.
I didn't know what I was doing with anything.
No, you're right. Because, like, when my mom, she once asked me, like, maybe within the last 2 years, she was like, how old were you again when you went to Arizona? I was like, I was 20. And then she, like, looked at me and she was like, just bug-eyed and stuff.
Yeah, that's young.
And I was like, oh, my God. No,
you were, like, starting life on your own. I didn't start my life on my own technically until I was older,
granted,
older.
I mean, like, we're still in college at that point though, but I feel like my situation was different.
Your situation was much different.
I wasn't in college and I was like doing real life.
I was in college for like a very long time, so that kept me in my more like young,
just a safer situation
coddled,
too,
like taken care of.
Not coddled, not taken care of, I'd say, because you're still like swimming on your own.
I was like on my own, but I didn't have to like worry about anything.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So I was still a kid in my mind.
Yeah, it's just I know the struggle of. I think we all know the struggle of like starting off and trying to do your own thing. I didn't know anybody.
I knew not one person when I
right,
did
but
that.
also just trying to do your own thing and being your own independent person, and how hard that is to like go from like being coddled and being taken care of to being like, okay, but I'm still my own person. Like, trust me, mom. You know, kind of thing. Like, that's still hard. So. And I'm sure that's what Elisa was feeling.
Well,
like.
Especially with, like, her history. You know, I'm sure they were super worried.
Yeah.
But Elisa was determined to go on this trip, so she convinced her parents to let her go by promising to call them and check in every single day.
Which I'm sure they still didn't believe. They're like, okay, sure, try your best.
Or, I mean, even if she did, like, still, like, that's just once a day. And then there's, like, 23 other hours of the day that they're not in contact with her, you know?
Right, yeah.
So Elisa was super stoked for her trip and planned to travel the entire west coast of California. She started off in San Diego, spending a few days there, and then she took the Amtrak train to Los Angeles on January 26th. 2 days after she arrived, she checked into the Cecil Hotel.
The Cecil.
The
infamous Cecil Hotel.
Over the next few days, she called her parents, like normal. But on the 31st, I believe this was the day before she was supposed to check out of the Cecil, her parents did not hear from her. Dang. All right, so let's talk about the Cecil Hotel. So the hotel opened its doors in 1924 and was intended to be a premier destination for business travelers visiting LA. But about 5 years later, the Great Depression hit the Cecil hard, and there were less and less business travelers staying at the hotel as time went on. So being right by Skid Row, the Cecil...
basically.
It's basically on. It's
Yeah.
like right there. The Cecil ended up becoming affordable temporary housing instead for the local unhoused population, which at that time was already over 10,000 people in like 1931.
Dang. The Great Depression did its fucking...
It did
It
work.
slammed.
Terrible,
Yeah.
terrible
It
work.
fucking slammed.
Before this, though, the hotel had already had its first recorded death take place just 2 years after it opened its doors. A man apparently took his own life in his room, and that wouldn't be the last time that happened there, and it wouldn't be the last tragedy either. In the 60s, a retired woman living in one of the residential rooms was discovered dead in her room. It seems she was a victim of RAPE, physical assault, and a stabbing.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, her murder was never solved. In the 80s, serial killer Richard Ramirez was known to frequent the hotel and very well could have committed some of his murders while staying there.
Unrelated to us.
Yes, we are not
The same
we
Ramirez.
are not that Ramirez. In the 90s, there was an Austrian serial killer named Jack Unterweger that stayed there. He was a magazine writer who was supposed to be on assignment. Well, he ended up murdering 3 sex workers by strangling them.
What the heck?
He was arrested, but he hung himself pretty much immediately after being arrested. So that was interesting. I knew about Richard Ramirez, not on a first name basis with him, but I did not know about this Jack guy. So basically, the Cecil had turned into a pretty seedy place. Disregarding the deaths, there were just some like pretty shady characters staying there.
What do you mean by CD?
Like just kind of like, just not a like wholesome place to stay at. Like there's shady characters there.
How are you spelling CD? Like
It's
CD?
like a term, like SEEDY. Let me look up the definition. Hang on.
Like planting CD?
No.
Oh, okay. You see, I wouldn't
It's
know.
it's like icky. It's sordid and disreputable.
Disreputable. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
I want to read the example that the dictionary gives on Google.
Right.
His seedy affair with a soft porn starlet.
Oh.
That's not even a full sentence.
You know what? It's still fitting because we're not far off from the San Fernando Valley.
Yep.
Yeah. Home of the best. Never mind. I don't know who's listening to this.
Yeah, we can just leave it there.
Okay.
But yeah, not like a great place. Oh yeah, and I put it down here. I was like, just like not very wholesome things were happening there. There was like drugs happening, all that kind of stuff.
Don't do drugs.
Drugs are bad, so you know. In 2011, the hotel had new ownership, and they attempted to rebrand and change the name of the hotel to Stay on Main, but a lot of the Cecil signage remained. It's still there today. We went and like saw that place.
Isn't that? I love it. I obviously awful place, awful history, but I just love. I love it because of it.
Yeah,
I love it
it's
because
just
of how awful it is, and I hope everyone.
That part of your brain where like we're intrigued by like serial killer documentaries, you know, like.
They give me anxiety. I'm like a little anxious watching them, but I just think I love like the history of like the building can carry and just
So
how beautiful it also is
Yeah.
in its own weird way
Right.
because it's not like the most gorgeous.
No,
It's not
I mean,
like
I think
Union
like,
Station or anything, but
like when you go inside, it was like built in the 20s, and so like inside in the lobby, it
it
like
looks
beautiful,
like grand and
Yeah.
beautiful. It almost reminds me of Union Station in a way,
Right, I
you
can
know?
see that.
But I did want to say that the Cecil is, I forgot. I'm sorry. I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted by how beautiful it is.
All right.
Wait, what were you saying before I got all distracted? It'll probably spark a memory.
The ownership changed and they attempted to rebrand.
Yes. I was just going to say that I think it's absolutely like bonkers that people will try to like revamp a beautiful but like
historical,
horrible place. Like you will never
They're just trying to like bury the history.
Yeah, you'll never detach it from what it was, you know? And it's just like
I think once it got out that Richard Ramirez like stayed there, like that's your connection.
Yeah, it tainted it. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna stay here and get murdered now.
Right.
You know?
Even though that's like silly. But also it isn't like in a great neighborhood either. But so it's just not gonna have like a great
it's like
reputation.
In the X amount of blocks. Because Skid Row makes up
it's like
multiple blocks. It's not just like a street.
I feel like it's like a couple miles.
Yeah, it's not just like just for context for people that aren't familiar with LA, like Skid Row is just like
it's like I would say it is where most of the unhoused people live
in America.
Yeah,
that is it's like
the lowest income,
the homeless
area.
Like the people, the most highest population of like maybe even the world. Honestly, it's like the most violent place.
Yeah, probably the most dangerous
in the world. Yeah, and it's just not a great place to be. At
which
night.
I mean, I was gonna say we're about to get back to Elisa Lam and what went on with her. So, quick recap. She arrived in Los Angeles on January 26th, checked into the Cecil Hotel on the 28th, and did not contact her parents on the 31st like she was supposed to. Okay, so before we continue with the timeline, I do want to note that originally Elisa was staying in a part of the hotel that was like a hostel. So like you share a room with strangers and then there's a communal bathroom. Like that kind of thing.
Which is a cheaper way to travel if you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're not familiar.
But the other guests that she was staying with complained to the hotel about her odd behavior, so they moved her to another room. It was like weird stuff, like leaving notes, like saying get out and stuff like that.
Okay,
so we're back to January 31st. Elisa's parents haven't heard from her, and they're worried. The last time she was seen that day was at the Last Bookstore in LA. It's just like a really famous bookstore there in Los Angeles. An employee at the store remembered Elisa when asked and said she seemed very friendly, outgoing, and normal. But regardless of how she seemed during this interaction, she still hadn't been seen or heard from in hours. So her parents called LAPD and flew out to LA to find their daughter. When Elisa didn't turn her room key into the hotel, the next day when she was due to check out, the staff checked her room, soon joined by the police, and Elisa was nowhere to be found. But all of her possessions were still in her room. After 5 days of searching produced to no answers, the police released a statement on February 6th. They gave some physical details of Elisa, as well as the details about where she was last seen. The police did think her disappearance was suspicious, and they were concerned that it could definitely be foul play. Police dogs were brought into the hotel and literally searched everywhere, even up on the roof. They didn't turn up with anything, though. But then the police started going through the hotel's surveillance footage. They went through hours and hours of footage, and eventually, on February 13th, they found something. Elisa would be found acting very, very strangely in and around one of the elevators. It begins with Elisa stepping into the elevator, hitting all of the buttons down the center of the control panel, and then stepping back into a corner. But a few minutes go by, and strangely, the doors don't close at all, which turns out to be something that people talk about, that it's weird that they're just staying open. But people have investigated the footage more detail, and they see that she did actually push the like stay open button on the elevator.
Oh, okay.
And I guess that can hold it open for like 2 minutes, which I didn't know. I didn't think it worked that well. And there's Arlo. She squeezed that meow out of him. I saw her.
I was just trying to hold him.
Sure.
I was trying to hold him.
He's just an independent kitty. He doesn't like to be held much. But yeah, so she pushed all of those buttons, and she starts to move towards the doors after nothing happens for a couple minutes, and checks the hallway in both directions, like kind of frantically. She then scoots back into the elevator and stands still for a moment, and then backs into a wall. She then cowers into the corner that would be like the most hidden from the hallway, from like being visible.
Yeah.
She looks scared, almost like she's hiding from someone. So the elevator still isn't going anywhere, and she gets back. She like goes back to the doorway and kind of leans out, but doesn't like fully stick her head out. When nothing happens, she fully pokes her head out and then does a little jump with both feet out of the elevator. She then steps calmly back into the elevator and then steps out of it again, and then steps to the left of the frame. She is obscured from the view for a few minutes, but is like making some movement, so you can like tell she's still there, like in by the elevator. She eventually gets back in the elevator with her hands on her head, and she looks suddenly panicked. Then, for a full minute, she frantically starts pushing buttons, and then when nothing happens, she leaves the elevator again and stands with her back against the hallway wall. Then she moves away from the wall and faces to the right of the frame. Her hands then start to contort into strange shapes as if she's gesturing to someone. At one point, it looks like she's like miming swimming, but her hands just keep making unnatural shapes as if they are like bending at strange angles. Mm-hmm. And then it looks like she's arguing with someone, making specific points and ticking them off with her fingers. Elisa then finally walks away from the elevator, and that is the last footage we have of her. That was a lot.
I mean, it sounds like it's almost like she's talking to someone, mm-hmm. like off camera.
But I mean, we don't know that because we can't see outside that frame, you
and
know?
Just like her erratic, I guess you can say, behavior mm-hmm. just doesn't make sense to.
Well, I was gonna say, obviously there are many theories about what the heck was like going on there. One of the easier and likely theories to go with was that she was having a psychotic episode, like a psychotic break, really, since she did suffer from mental illness.
Right, because like I feel like we tend to dismiss her as an okay, like a mentally like okay person, a functioning, person suffering with bipolar depression, maybe.
Right.
But we really don't know the story behind it.
Exactly. And, yeah.
Like I don't know the psychosis behind it.
Because obviously there's like different levels to bipolar disorder,
right?
You know?
And maybe she was on the correct medication.
Mm-hmm. I know she had medication.
Yeah, and maybe and I mean, from my personal experience, if you're taking medication like that for depression, whether it's generic or the actual, that doesn't even matter. But if you're drinking with it, it totally affects like your whole like experience with it. That's my personal experience. Right. I think it's just, it fits everyone differently, but you cannot take certain medications not because it makes you fucking high or whatever. It just literally it messes with your
like brain chemistry.
Your brain literally it'll change it from like
that makes sense
from one day to the next. It'll make you more depressed. Damn. And it depends on her diagnoses and her psychoses. Like we don't know how it affected her if she was drinking while she was on this medication. Like who knows, you know?
So, another theory, which is less likely, but I still want to mention it, this is a spooky podcast, was that she was playing the elevator game. Now, the elevator game is an urban legend type game that originated in Korea. Kind of like Bloody Mary, there's like rules. But this game has like way more rules than Bloody Mary. All right, I'm gonna tell you all how to play the elevator game. We do not claim any responsibility. I'm not recommending this. These are just the rules.
Just the rules.
And what some people
go do it.
This is what some people think she might have been doing.
Not telling you to go do it. Don't do it.
But if one were to do it, this is how it would go. To play the elevator game, all you need is a building that has 10 floors and an elevator that goes all the way up to the top.
Okay, sounds like the Cecil so far.
Yep. So, first, you and whoever else is playing enters the elevator.
Okay.
Make sure no one else is in there, just you and whoever's playing. Now, once you're in there, you cannot leave until the game is over. To start, you're going to go to these floors in this order. You're going to go to the 4th floor, then the 2nd, and then the 6th, and then you're going to go back to the 2nd, and then you're going to the 10th, and then the last floor is the 5th.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yes. 4th, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 10th, and 5th. Now again, you cannot get off at any of these floors. You're just going to take a ride.
When did she arrive at the Cecil?
The 28th of January.
Oh, okay. And then when was she supposed to call her parents?
The 31st. Like, she called them on the 30th and then didn't call them on the 31st.
And when was the surveillance footage?
I believe it was on the 31st. But I mean, I guess if I probably could Google that specifically to see the exact, let me just do that. Okay. It didn't say, like, in the things I was reading. Okay, yeah, the footage was on the 31st, the day she didn't call her parents. Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, yes. The only reason I asked was because I numerology person.
Yeah, true.
And I was just, like, adding up all the numbers, and all the floor numbers add up to 29. I didn't know if that had any significance.
I mean, she was there on the 29th.
She was there on the 29th. 2 plus 9 is 11. Is 11 a significant number?
No.
11. 1 plus 1 is 2.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine. I just wasn't, Yeah. You never know.
So, back to the elevator game. When you reach your final floor, which is the 5th floor, you may encounter a mysterious woman. Do not look at her or engage in any way.
And then it's just a random woman just there, like...
She's like, geez, this generation just keeps getting ruder and ruder.
Hey, Sonny, can you hold the elevator door for me, please?
And you're like, bye.
You're like, bye, bitch.
If you interact with this woman, you may never return to your world again.
Oh, like an interdimensional kind of thing? Okay.
So after you get to the 5th floor, whether the woman is there or not, you're going to hit the 1st floor button. If you do make it down to the 1st floor, immediately exit the elevator and leave the building. Do not look back. Do not look around. Just get out of there.
If you go to the 1st floor.
Yeah, if you hit the 1st floor button and it takes you down, peace out. But if the elevator doesn't take you down to the 1st floor and instead it starts going up and takes you to the top floor, you have been allowed access to another world. That is actually like the whole point of this game, is to gain access to this world. So once you reach the top floor, you can get off the elevator. You'll still be in the hotel, but things will be different. Sort of like the Upside Down in Stranger Things, or like the Further in Insidious.
It was
like Uncanny Valley kind of.
Oh my god. Okay. This is just making me sad now.
The lighting could be different, probably darker. The power might be off entirely. It will probably be deserted. Some players have supposedly reported seeing nothing out the windows but darkness and a glowing red cross in the distance.
Okay, Starboy music video, The Weeknd. Have you seen that?
No.
It's literally he is carrying like a red cross, like a neon red cross.
Okay. That's why I use the word supposedly.
Okay.
So just like there were steps to get you into this world, there are steps to get you out, but you have to follow them to a T, or you could be stuck in this world forever.
If you remember how they go.
Well, you have to write it down, like in your phone or something.
If you still have your phone.
Right, that's true. You could not Hey,
Sorry.
Ice Crunchy.
ASMR.
Sure. It's your specialty.
What does it sound like?
Like you're chewing on ice.
You're welcome.
So, if you want to make it out of this world, first, you need to make sure you use the same elevator that brought you there.
And then it's just gone.
That's also a thing. Like,
What?
it could be in a different spot. So you have to make sure
I do not like
that
this
you
at
find
all.
the right
I'm
one.
just like
We're almost done.
Oh my god. Stop.
You don't have to play it ever, babe. I promise. No one's making you play the elevator game. So once you find your correct elevator, then you are going to go to the floors in the same order that you did before. 4th, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 10th, and 5th. Now, don't get out of the elevator. Once you reach the 5th floor, hit the button for the 1st floor.
Okay, listen.
What?
At this point, dude, if I'm at the top floor and I like walk into like a completely different realm, I don't have the patience to be like, oh yeah, and I have to click 2 and I have to click 5.
But if you don't, you're gonna be stuck.
And I'm stuck forever because I don't have the who in the right mind at that point is gonna be like, okay, listen, everybody.
People that don't want to get stuck in that world.
No. But in reality, though, like you cannot tell me.
These are the rules.
No one listening to this podcast will have the right mindset to be like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that it's not a movie.
Okay, but
bro.
this girl right here has seen a million horror movies, and I'm like, I know we're scared, but we have to follow the rules, or else we're gonna be scared for the rest of eternity in this other realm.
Yeah, but see, putting yourself in the aspect, like in the position, in the aspect, I don't even know what to call it, like just in the world
Point of view.
In the further. You're in the further, you're like, what the hell? Where am I? You're freaking out, babe. You are not.
That's why I wouldn't play this game.
Fair enough.
But if you do, and you are trying to get back, and you reach that 5th floor, don't get out. You're going to hit the 1st floor.
Listen carefully. Listen very carefully, everyone.
So you hit the 1st floor button. If the elevator starts going up again, you are going to hit any button until it stops. Like anything you can do you can even hit the emergency stop button. Do not let it go back up to the top.
And like expect that the cops won't show up, so you're safe. You're good.
But if it does go down to the 1st floor, then you are good. If you've made it back to our world, congratulations. Good
Congratulations.
job. Way to go. Way to play such a stupid game. You're just going to exit the elevator and the building and get out of there. Don't look back. Just leave forever.
Like nothing ever
Like
happened.
nothing happened. Yeah.
If
so
you're one of the lucky ones.
So that was the elevator game.
Wow.
Personally, I don't think that's what Elisa was doing. Like, it just doesn't seem like possible. Like, her actions don't match the game. Unless it could, like, look different to, like, the human eye. And she believes she's, like, playing the game. But she's just, like, staying on the same floor to us.
Is that a psychosis?
Right,
though?
right.
Like, you
But,
know,
yeah.
like... It could be
yeah.
she probably believed it enough, but she was just like having an episode.
Yeah, I don't think it was the game, but it was an interesting thing that people threw. It became like very popular after this story. So, and of course, a whole bunch of like YouTubers went and did it and stuff. But yeah, I do have one more theory for you. It's kind of crazy.
Okay.
So a few weeks after Elisa disappeared, downtown LA, particularly Skid Row, was hit by an outbreak of drug-resistant tuberculosis. So they were taking extreme measures to test and treat people to stop the disease from spreading, especially amongst the unhoused. Public health officials were sent to LA to track down around 4,500 people who had been exposed to the disease.
So what is this disease? What is this?
It's tuberculosis.
What is tuberculosis? Like, is it a flu? Like, what is it?
So according to the internet, tuberculosis is a potentially serious infectious bacterial disease that mainly affects the lungs. So that's why, like, back in the day in those, like, hospitals, they would have, like, the outside rooms because supposedly fresh air would, like, just heal them. But obviously they needed more than that. But.
So tuberculosis essentially is like a... it's bacterial. So...
It was definitely, like, contagious.
Contagious,
That's why so many people were getting it, and they... needed to stop it.
But you said it was like a drug tuberculosis?
Like, I get drug resistant.
To resist means to...
Like it makes it sound like it, like vaccine, like it doesn't have, like...
A cure?
Yeah, like a thing to make it, like, stop kind of thing.
Okay.
That's why it, like, killed so many people back in the day. Okay, especially because they really didn't have things to help people with
drug resistant. Okay, yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm just I'm in stupid mode right now. So you said drug resistant, so I was like... Mm-hmm.
That's what it said online.
Yes, I understand. I understand that. You just said Skid Row. You said the word drug. And I was like, drug resistant. This is why I was confused in the first place. I was like...
No, not, like, related to that.
Yeah, no. Okay. It's just, it's an incurable tuberculosis and just killing people.
Right, and spreading.
Okay.
Yeah, so people were sent there to, like, kind of get a handle on things. Mm. And they quickly found themselves at the Cecil, and that because there was a lot of unhoused people around there. Right. But the crazy thing is the test that they were using to test for the tuberculosis was called Lam Elisa.
No, this is... Okay, I remember this.
Do you?
Yes, this is...
Wait, can we finish talking about it? And then you can say everything you want to say. Let me finish this, okay?
I know. Yes, go.
Okay. So, obviously, conspiracy theorists went crazy when they found out about this. The main theory was that Elisa Lam's weird behavior was a result of an experimental medication for tuberculosis. And then she disappeared because the government was trying to silence a test subject that knew too much. This theory kind of has, like, too many holes in it to be, like, legit, but... It's like a crazy coincidence.
That is a crazy coincidence.
Crazy.
It's so crazy. I remember reading about this, and it's... What are the chances? Yeah. What are the chances?
And it's not like it was like a medicine for it or anything. It was like to test if people had it. Like, it's so random. And it, like, stands for, like, medical terms, you know? It didn't just, like, get named that.
Right, yeah. Like, even if, obviously, I mean, like, it's like, as a conspiracy theorist, I mean, it sounds like this was set up. Mm-hmm. But in, like, a realistic term...
It's like, why would they... Like, that's such a random place for one of their test subjects just to be staying at the Cecil, and... She was going out during the day and, like, sightseeing and stuff, you know?
That is crazy.
Like, did she know? Or did, like, did they do it and she was, like, not in the know somehow? You know?
Yeah, you don't know.
Nobody
no one
knows, man.
Yeah.
So, do we ever find out what happened to Elisa Lam? Yes, we do. On February 19th, 20 days after Elisa went missing, guests at the hotel started to complain about the water. The pressure was really low, it tasted funny, and it was dark and discolored. A maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez went up to the roof to check the water tanks. He noticed that the hatch on one of them was unlocked, and when he opened it up and looked inside, he saw Elisa's naked body floating in the water.
Fuck.
Her body had already started decomposing. I mean, presumably she had been dead for weeks. But the medical examiner was still able to run some tests, and on June 20th, they issued the incident as an accidental drowning.
Nah, bro.
From the physical evidence, it didn't look like Elisa was attacked in any way. The toxicology report did show that she was taking her medication for her bipolar disorder and depression. So they were saying that could have caused some of her strange behavior. But maybe they left out the part about maybe she had something to drink as well.
But I mean, yeah.
Like, they didn't mention any alcohol.
Yeah, no. At that point, it would be out of.
You would think
your
if she's taking it, that's true. You'd think if she was like taking her medication normally, it would do the opposite of that and not cause that kind of behavior.
Right, because I feel like even if you lean off of it, if it's like any other drug, like tobacco stays in your system for 7 to 14 days after you stop smoking. 30 days, if anything. I believe that that's tobacco, and then weed stays in your system for longer. So it's like, if you're considering marijuana, weed, whatever, THC as a medicine, it still stays in your system even after you stop taking it. So how long do these medications stay in our system before?
Well, I guess a few weeks at least.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it can count as, oh yeah, Marlene was smoking weed just yesterday because it showed in her system, but I stopped smoking 2 weeks ago. Kind of thing like that. It's a... You know what I'm trying to say?
Like, she could have been taking her medication up until, like, the 26th. And then didn't take it for, like, 5 days.
Or maybe up until her trip. Like, who knows?
Like, stop taking it when she left kind of thing.
Like, I don't know how. I mean, obviously, of course, they would know that. But, I mean, to consider that is very important.
Right. That's a good point. Like, if it stays in your system for, like, 2 months.
Right.
She could definitely have not been taking it for a little bit.
Right. And
okay. That's a good point.
And it's kind of crazy to say that, like, that medication won't stay in your system if you stop taking it. It's not going to go away from one day to the next because of how long you've been taking it. And so if she did stop taking it a week before her death, it's going to show up. And if that's how, like, her skin or her blood or whatever's left of her is, if that's how that is imprinted, I mean, it's going to be hard to tell whether she was actually taking it at the time or not. So,
good point.
I think saying that is just kind of, you're just kind of reaching, who knows? I don't know.
Well, experts do believe that she did experience a psychotic episode in the elevator, and they alluded that she probably climbed up the fire escape ladder to the roof and entered the water tank and drowned. All right, so we've got some things to talk about here. The roof of the Hotel Cecil is always locked. If you manage to open the door without the keys that goes to it, an alarm would sound. And, like, the door was even locked when the police went out there to search. They had to get someone to, like, unlock it for them. So the only explanation would be Elisa was either led up there or carried up there by someone who had keys to that door. Also, I guess it was possible for her to get into the water tank on her own. There was, like, a little ladder on it. But how did the lid get closed? Like, the hatch wasn't locked, but the big metal lid was closed. And there's, like, no way she would have been able to close that big, heavy lid from where she was in the water tank.
Right,
like,
unless she had held herself outside and, like, pulled it.
I don't think once you get into the water tank, I don't think you can, like, reach up to the top of it.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, obviously we don't, like, maybe the water's filled up to the very top and she was, like, floating at the top. Yeah, we technically don't know those details. But I do want to bring up her mental illnesses again. I guess according to her family, erratic behavior, like what she exhibited in the elevator, was not that uncommon. She very well could have been having an episode and having hallucinations and really thought she was like running from something, and she was just like trying to hide and get to like a safe place maybe. But like regardless of like if that was true and like what really happened, like how did she get to the locked roof and get enclosed in that?
That's sketch.
You know,
but
that's
also,
what I don't understand.
So if the family is saying like, oh yeah, that's happened before, why are you letting her travel by herself?
I mean, I'm not gonna blame her parents. Like,
I don't know.
I'm not blaming them.
I think at some point you needed, I don't know. I'm gonna be that person. I don't care. New year, new me.
I know.
I'm gonna be
I'm
like,
gonna say my opinion too.
Everyone's gonna hate me by the end of the year,
That's
and
fine.
everyone's right to cancel me. But I don't know. I feel like at some point, like, yeah, sure, you're like, there's tiger parenting involved. They're Asian parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that whole culture of just like tough parenting, and you know, if their culture is anything like ours, our parents do not believe in mental illness. Like, they tell you to suck it up and like try another day kind of thing, which granted, yeah, sure, it helps some of us, but I mean, I don't know, like, mental illness is real though.
They had gotten like medication for her and like were for her taking it, and when she fell off the medication, like that the episodes would happen.
So why make her travel alone? Like,
right.
Why, if these episodes are not strange to you, like,
I think she had gotten to a good place and was doing well and was taking her medication, and I'm sure they wanted to do this for her daughter. Like, she wanted it so much, and they probably did offer to like go with her, and she was probably like, no, this is something I need to do for myself. Like, I can do it. I'm an adult. Like, you can trust me and I'll call you every day kind of thing. And it's a hard position for them to be in. And I'm sure they blame themselves every day for this. I just don't want to add to that. Like, that's just such a hard spot for them.
I don't know.
Well, regardless of what, like, the truth is, what actually happened to Elisa Lam, it's truly just like an awful tragedy that happened to that poor girl. And we may never have all of the answers, but that was the story of Elisa Lam.
Man, rip, bro.
It was your story. You're welcome.
I know, it's just a crazy story. It always makes me like this is what this story does to me. It always pulls me in separate directions where I'm like, well, the parents should have, and then I'm like, well, Elisa was probably, you know, it just pulls so many strings in me where I just I don't think there is a right or a wrong. It's just a mystery.
Yeah, it's just a mystery.
And
that
I think just that the empty pieces, it's just me trying to fill it in. So I'm not trying to like be so like insensitive or whatever the word is. Insensitive to like the story situation. It's just like, man,
because like
I'm just putting my position in, like, I wouldn't do this and like, I wouldn't do that.
Based on like all the
which is unfair.
Based on all the 2 cents that's like out there on the internet, and like the main consensus really does seem like it was just her mental illness, that like she like would have hallucinations. It would get like that severe, so she could have hallucinated someone coming after her, you know. She could have hallucinated that the water tank was like her room.
No, 100%. And like, you know, the hotel is, and all this is alleged. We don't even know, you know, like it's just, we're just speaking out of entertainment purposes only. But for all we know, because of how sketch and run down the hotel was, that that latch probably was busted. It was probably broken. It was probably easy to get to the roof. Maybe that was a hangout spot. Maybe she knew about it. We don't know that though. The hotel. This is what I'm trying to get at. The hotel could tell us it's locked. It's always been locked. We don't know how, you know. And then for all we know, that night it just happened that it was probably a hangout spot. Someone left it unlocked. And she just found her way through, and the hotel, to cover their ass and not get sued. Like, there's so many ways the story could go.
Because her parents did try to sue the hotel for, like, negligence, and, like, after the incident that happened with when she was sharing a room with those people, that she wasn't, like, seeming well, they were like, why didn't you know, do more?
No, 100%.
Which, like, also it's not the hotel's responsibility, I guess. You know, they can't, like, watch after her.
No, yeah, and I mean, that's the point I'm trying to get at, where the hotel is just covering their ass, and they're just like, well, we did our job. We made sure everything. We don't know how she got there. And it's like, well, it also could be negligence. And the janitor or the housekeeper probably left it unlocked after a cigarette break.
Right.
And, like, just fucked up, left it open, and they're just covering their asses. So we don't know. But that's what I mean about the story. Like, why it always... gets to me, because I'm like, the parents, Elisa was, like, left alone, and she was, like, mentally ill, and the hotel probably sucked, and there's so many factors. It's such a good story, and it's such a sad fucking story too. Like, it's like, what the hell? Like, all of this could have been prevented. It all could have been prevented, and nobody would have guessed. Nobody would have known. Predicted. It is what it is, and it just sucks that a life was lost. And even worse, Elisa. The fact that that Elisa was just victim to, whether it was negligence or just her fate, you know, because just also the whole bacterial thing with the vaccine, the
tuberculosis.
That is, I still,
that's wild. I mean, can that be, like, a coincidence? I don't understand.
How do you explain that? Yeah.
And it's, like, right then, too. It's not like it's, like, in the area, but 2 years later, it was, like, a few weeks after she died.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like the government would be like, let's poke fun at, like, this little inside thing.
Not even that,
you know?
Like, how do they even know? Like,
why would they do that if they're behind something? It's, like, literally because it stands for, like, enzyme something. You know, it stands for really big medical words.
Right. It's crazy. This is a crazy story, a good one.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your pick. You have to wait another couple months for your next one.
I guess. Hopefully.
Valentine's Day. Maybe Valentine's Day I can do something for you.
Actually, that way you won't have to make me wait so long. But thank you for covering my story.
You're welcome.
It's such a good one. It always tugs me everywhere, like I said. I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm just my controversial self. And, I just suck. But I try to be a conscious sucker, you know? So I'm not over here trying to...
Yeah, like, I don't want, like, this to come off as, like, disrespecting the family that lost their daughter or their sister.
No,
like,
you know what?
A whole life is gone, and I don't want us to just be, like, talking conspiracies about it.
No, not even conspiracies, but this is the same way that they talk in court. I just wanted to, like... I just want to, like, put it in a perspective where that's literally what a jury does. You know, and they just judge it.
Try and be as respectful as we can.
No. We're not being disrespectful. At least in my part. Like, I'm just, like the jury literally judges it in whatever way there is possible, because that's just what they're there to do. And I just want to bring that to the table. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, and I'm just trying to be like, well, you know, like, this could also be a possibility.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things, and we don't know the answers to any of these stories. So I just kind of want to, you know, just budget in different areas where naturally I would make the situation or the story a little more uncomfortable, but it's just because I want you to think.
Yeah. And then I'm here to just keep reminding that we're just talking out thoughts, but we, like, still keep the respect in our hearts for, like, any victims that are ever
100%.
a part of our stories.
100%. Yeah. It's never my intention to...
it's awful. It's so sad.
Yeah, no, it's never my intention and Alyssa's intention to disrespect anyone or... this is just for entertainment purposes. So just
to get you guys thinking, like form your own opinions on what you think might have happened.
Which, if you've listened to other podcasts, that's literally just my intention. We live in the age of information, which I'm always preaching. Age of information. You can do your own research. I'm just sharing like my take on it. And as always, we always want you to share your take on all these stories with us. So if you have any input on this story or a different suggestion, you can send them to whatsyourfavoritescarystory@gmail.com, or you can send them to
our DMs on Instagram, which is also What's Your Favorite Scary Story. Yes, please send us your suggestions. I'm done with Marlene for at least a couple weeks.
She's probably done with me in general. I promise for the next 50 weeks of the year, I will be less judgmental as I've had been. Honestly, like last week's episode and this week, something's wrong with me, bro. Like, I don't know if it's like the water we're drinking nowadays, or maybe I'm just drinking too much soda. I'm gonna cut back on my soda.
It's probably all the soda forcing these thoughts out of your mouth.
You know what? I'm gonna stop drinking soda while I'm doing these podcasts. So I'm sorry. I apologize. If, like I always say, if you want to cancel us, cancel me. Alyssa's a great person, and I'm just being my awful self. So please don't cancel my wife. She's the sweetest person ever. So I apologize.
I mean, preferably don't cancel either one of us.
Yeah,
Marlene, you guys gotta admit, Marlene does add quite a bit to the podcast. I truly couldn't do it without her.
I'll cut back on the soda, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, and I apologize beforehand. But it's just to spice things up a little bit, you know? All right, anyway.
We will talk to you guys next week. I'm tired, and I have to crawl down the stairs now with my busted leg.
Yeah, and I have to make sure everything gets down safely, and that Alyssa gets down safely.
Yes, yes. But until we speak with you again,
we love you.
We love you. Have a great week, and
stay spooky. Thank you for listening.
Happy podcast anniversary.
Woo! Make
Bye.
it 10 more years. Bye.